All right, all right, all right. You can't make this shit up. Joel Hawksley, David Washington, we are your political innovators at J in Washington. Thank you for joining us. We are at the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society here in Florida, and I am excited to be here. And please, please join us. They have great food here at the Oxford, great staff. They have monitors everywhere. Hey, they've got games, hockey games, basketball games, soccer, baseball. I can actually catch a Chicago White Sox baseball game here. I'm loving it. Let's jump to it.
Well, wait, David, you remember that show All in the Family?
Yes, I do.
So when I was reading this episode, all I could think of is All in the Family. So just hit it, man.
Let's jump.
Just hit it.
So Marucci Guzmán doesn't have the elected office on her resume. However, politics are all in the family. Marucci, who just filed for House District 35, and for purposes of full disclosure, JNW is representing a candidate in that race, Rishi Baga, for House District 35. Go Rishi. But Marucci is married to former Republican State Representative Rene Coach P. Plasencia, who resigned a few months before his last term expired in 2022. Her sister-in-law, Republican State Rep Susan Plasencia, was elected to present House District 37 in 2022 and is currently filed to run for re-election in 2024. Marucci is also opera buddies, and if John can put up that graphic, she's opera buddies with the outgoing, now retired, House District 35 State Representative Republican Fred Hawlins Jr. The nepotism here doesn't get so obvious. We're going to do our deep dive and give you the latest on the newest HD35 candidate, Marucci Guzmán. Let's go.
David, ever since we've been together as a company, we have been talking about her.
Yes, that's true.
So
that's true.
there was nobody out there that didn't know that this was a possibility.
Correct.
And a very good possibility. The rumor's been there. Clearly, it was either going to be county, but now this is like a special election. Nobody shows up type of thing. So let's throw her in here into this mix. Let's get the Plasencia, the Coach P money. Okay, let's get the Hawkins money, right?
That Republican money, yes.
So you're going to take Republican money. So I would say that there's nobody chosen on the Republican side. But it's clear we know who the Republicans want on the Democrat side because I believe they think they're going to lose this seat.
Right. It's a +5 Biden seat. The Republicans did what they needed to do, took care of business in 2022. And since then State Rep Fred Hawkins was able to keep that seat in Republican hands.
Yeah, he sent our candidate, the nominee. He sent them, to be in this race.
Yeah,
because he left the seat. So, of course, he won because of his name. And the current candidates in the Republicans as the Osceola school board member took over Hawkins' seat. His wife is running.
Right.
You can't make this shit up. Like it's this husband and this wife and this one.
Booth took over the county commission seat
Ricky Booth,
that Fred Hawkins once
had
in Osceola County,
and she took over.
He ran for state rep at 30 and 50 at the time,
mm-hmm.
And now the school board member
But she took
Erica Booth.
She took his school board member.
Now she took
his seat.
His seat, her husband's seat, Ricky Booth's seat. When he was a school board member, you're keeping it all in the family.
Listen, Osceola has no problem in knowing who they're voting for,
right?
Because it's the same name every freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Osceola, you guys got to get some life. You got to touch that pulse. You got to find a new direction.
Which is kind of odd. Why Ms. Guzman doesn't use her. I don't know if she would have hyphenated or whatever, but
she wants to clearly. She wants,
but it was going to come out that the fact that she is married to Coach P, and that Coach P was, in my opinion, the golden boy at one point for the Republican Party here in Florida. It was going to come out. We were going to make sure that it comes out. Embrace it for what it is. Unless you just don't want people to know that you're closely aligned to the Republican Plasencia family.
I won't go that far because she never did take his name.
Okay.
They were married. They had a child. I mean, this was all known. People in the Republican Party said that Coach P was a Democrat because he was a Republican in name only, because he was voting with the Democrats the majority of the time. But his constituent, I would defend him. I say his constituents are different, right? So he has to kind of be with his constituents. But everybody say, well, Joel, he's married to a Democrat, and ever since then he's left the trail. I'm like,
right. Well, we know that some of the legislation that Coach P did present, some of the legislation that Fred Hawkins did present in the legislature, maybe had some consultation from Marucci. Who knows? Seeing that, she is married to Coach P, she is so close to Fred Hawkins. Maybe she had no influence on any of that type of legislation that's gotten, people riled up here in the district in Florida. My concern is, and granted, anyone's welcome to run for office, anybody.
Yeah.
My concern is why this particular seat, why this opportunity, even though it's an open seat, why now? Again, we're biased. I'm biased because we work with candidate Richie Baga. I just don't see the service that she could make to the district without being criticized for her close ties to the Republican Party.
If she this is the thing, she got to get through the primary.
Right.
It's a new name, so maybe they're playing that, because the last two that ran are running again in the primary. She's going to get Republican money
through a PC or whatever, sure.
So it's going to be funneled to her.
Right.
So you're taking your bets on Booth and Mariachi.
And it's
you win-win.
I've heard some people say, well, is she a plant by the Republicans? Is she a plant by Roofless, or is she someone that was recruited by the Democrats? I just don't see her candidacy as something that would make a difference in the primary.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I see the Republican money going obviously to the favorite in the Republican primary, Erica Booth. It's been pretty much said so. Demetrius Grimes dropped out of that primary recently and endorsed Miss Booth. So I would think that's where the Republican money would be.
Well, I haven't talked to Demetrius since I talked to him prior to him dropping out.
Right.
But when I gave him my view of the landscape, which he asked me. I said, if there's a booth in there, then you're already in trouble.
Right.
And he said, well, his wife, Ricky's wife is in there. And I'm like, well, then you have now you have it uphill battle, right? That doesn't matter who is in it. There's always somebody who rises to the top. They've been to Tallahassee. They've already tried to introduce themselves. They're up there moving and shaking.
Right.
So the ins that Coach P has, his strong relationship with Democrats is going to help her fundraise. And if it's all about money, then if it's all about money, then
it may help with the Republicans. I'm not too sure with Democrats, especially with the opportunities that Tom Keene, who's also in the race, and the opportunity that Rishi has had to fundraise and had a very good first month of fundraising. Those Democrats have seen Keene, have seen Rishi, and have made their commitments to some extent or another. And I know that Marucci's going to, the Democratic establishment and its allies, for introductions, asking for donations, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see in October how that is working out for her. It's tough. It's tough unless she has her own pack and able to draw money to support her effort.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I look at it. It's only 3 candidates in that race, correct?
So far, yes.
So far. Now, when you look at this, Tom Keene is already. Tom, let me say something. Democrats already spoke the last time, so I mean, it's not going to be much different for you. But now we have a third candidate in there. I think it hurts Keene even more.
I agree.
From my perspective, and I mean, our company is, with Rishi Baga, but we're strong with Rishi. We're going to do everything we can. We're political innovators.
Yeah.
So Rishi's not going to give up. He was the nominee. He's going to remind people that he was the nominee. And it's going to be an uphill battle for those that are in this race.
Agreed.
So I'm going to put the pressure on whoever's there, because I don't do the consulting for the Democrats. You do, but I will put the pressure on whatever your direction is, because I do that part.
What I found excitingly humorous was the allegation that Marucci reached out to those close to Rishi to help explain to him that he should drop out of the race because she is getting into the race. I found that incredibly humorous.
Well, everybody tries that.
Right. It was cute.
Listen, I sent Pete. I tried to get Pete Clark and Pinapinto in the same room. Did it. They actually got stronger in their positions, and they both lost because.
Remember Tony Saab and Chris Messina?
Oh yeah,
same thing.
Listen, I got called a plant, but I was like, listen, I'm going to give both of you advice up to the point where it's like, if you're both in the race, you lose. Guess what?
How did that work out, Mr. Hawksley?
They lost.
Yeah.
Now, if they had gone and support one another, came out with a solid, front, one of them could have become mayor, and then that is a helpful hand for you to become a district, to take over a district. Then, you could then go mayor afterwards. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do, but nobody thinks the way they're supposed to.
I do want to at least share with our viewers and listeners a little bit about Miss Guzmán. according to FloridaPolitics.com. She announced recently that her accomplishments include spearheading the creation of a free medical clinic, Clinica Mi Salud, disaster relief efforts in Puerto Rico, Haiti, and El Salvador, and creating a mental health care initiative addressing trauma of Hurricane Maria, as well as lobbying to improve services for children on the autism spectrum. So, I mean, kudos to Ms. Guzman. That's excellent. She's a mother. She's a non-for-profit leader. She's a wife. She's a mother to two daughters. And I want to speak to the that she was recruited because of of checking certain boxes of being female, of being a Latina. If this is a fact, if she is checking certain boxes for the Democratic Party, I think we need to. I know we need to get away from that. We need to look at the candidates for what they have to offer and the best. And we're looking at Richie Baga being the first, possibly the first, hopefully the first Southeast Asian legislator in the Florida legislature. That would be awesome. Talk about diversity.
Yeah, well,
That's
you
excellent.
see, this is the thing. We got stuck with a vice president that's a female because Joe Biden said he was going to put one there. He had no choice because he stuck himself into the gender.
She was elected.
I get it, but I'm saying, why was she
I know.
put there? Why was the Supreme Court justice a woman, black woman, put
Ketanji
there?
Brown
Because he
Jackson,
said he wanted to.
Justice Ketanji
Listen,
Brown
I
Jackson.
don't care about your color of your skin. I don't care about anything, but that you can do the job. And have you done the job? Now, this All in the Family stuff, it can only work
Right.
so much.
Right.
Look,
the nepotism reeks.
it's term limits, people, for a reason. It's so you move on. It's not so your spouse can take over. And that's my final word.
That's Joel's final word. My final word is I am very much looking forward to the special election, which was recently announced for November 7th. That is the same day as the Orlando City elections. So there'll be some crossover in some precincts in HD 35. We're excited. The general election for this special election, the special general election for HD 35 will be January. So we have a very short period of time to make sure that Richie's voters know to vote for Richie, to get their vote by mail ballots, register for your vote by mail ballots. Make sure that you know when the election is, November 7th. Make sure you know that you can vote early when those dates come out. Be aware of that. And to vote for your candidate of choice. You know who our candidate is? We hope it's the same for you. That's my last word.
Hit that like button. Share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Tell us how you feel we did. Tell us if we're wrong. But just be involved. Vote, 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 and comment.